Chaos Knights tower over the battlefield, each a god of war wrought in iron. Piloted by nobles who have forsworn their allegiance to the Imperium, these bipedal engines of destruction are amongst the most fearsome creations in the galaxy. The roar of tortured engines and warp-infused macro-servos precedes the coming of the Chaos Knights. With vast strides, the gargantuan machines draw ever closer to their quarry, their trudging footfalls sending quakes through the shattered earth. Long shadows extend before them, shrouding their enemies in darkness, while suffocating plumes of plasmic exhaust pour down from maw-like vents. Those marked for death by the Knights are gripped by the inescapable truth that their doom approaches, and as they open fire upon the towering machines, the last of their hope evaporates. Flickering ion shields absorb the incoming fire, energy blasts dissipating and artillery shells exploding harmlessly before they can strike their targets. Undaunted, the Knights continue their ominous march. Their bristling weapon systems grind into firing positions, and with thunderous cracks they unleash annihilation upon the foe. Enormous melter weapons shoot beams of searing heat that erupt into fiery novas, immolating infantry and reducing armored vehicles to bubbling slag. Monstrous battle cannons rain hails of explosive shells upon the foe, detonating with enough force to crack open a ferrocrete bunker. Rockets and missiles streak through the skies towards the most threatening opponents, annihilating these priority targets with punishing swiftness. Those enemies not instantly obliterated by the opening barrage are cut down by blinding bursts of laser weaponry or atomized by the Knights' plasma-fueled armaments. As the survivors desperately seek to hold the line, the Knights fire streams of solid shot that tear through flesh and armor, leaving only shredded corpses and a thick crimson mist where soldiers once rallied. Those who do not flee as the titanic machines approach are blasted apart at close range, immolated by jets of burning promethium or simply ground to pulp beneath slab-like feet. Looming over their enemies, the Knights swing their colossal chainswords in reaping arcs. Jagged adamantine teeth saw through tank hulls with contemptuous ease and liquefy the hapless crews inside. Other Knights use thunderstrike gauntlets to pulverize their foes, crushing war machines to scrap within their obliterating grip, or using the energy-wreathed fists like wrecking balls to batter aside all resistance. Each Chaos Knight is an unhallowed relic of humanity's ancient past. They are twisted reflections of the Imperial Knights, corrupted in form and spirit by fell sorceries, dark worship, and malefic re-engineering. The Knight suits were first created using standard template constructs during the Dark Age of technology, and many have survived through the innumerable wars that have characterized the long millennia since. For generations uncounted, the colossal war machines have been piloted by nobles, aristocratic warriors, possessed of enough physical, mental, and spiritual fortitude to survive the ritual of becoming, commune with the throne mechanicum at each construction's heart, and thus bond with their Knight suit. In the case of Chaos Knights, such rituals are tainted by warp entities, malefic sorceries, and the perversions of the nobles themselves. At first the Knight may appear unchanged, but in its core the irrevocable process of rot has already begun. Over years or even centuries, chaos energies seep into the war engine, torturing its machine spirit and mutating its mechanical form. Where once the suit and its pilot were a gleaming beacon of imperial honor, the Chaos Knight and its fallen noble comprise a symbiotic beast of unfettered wrath and base hatred. A noble is enabled to pilot their war machine by being wired into an arcane contraption that is implanted into their Knight's cockpit, a throne mechanicum in the larger Knights, or a helm mechanicum in the smaller classes. Neural jacks and cerebral uplinks connect the pilot's nervous tissue to the device, allowing them to directly interface with the machinery of their steed. Actuators and omnimotivators are driven by streams of hateful thoughts, whilst sensory information and multispectrum auspex relays feed back into the noble's mind with burning clarity. Within each throne mechanicum are the spectral echoes of its previous pilots, screaming technogeists whose suffering increases exponentially as the Knight to which they are bonded grows ever more warped. Only the most indomitable fallen nobles are able to commune with a throne mechanicum. Those that do are able to spur their Chaos Knight into action by inimical will alone. Nobles who are wired into a helm mechanicum are similarly twisted by chaos energies that have been absorbed by their war engine. The helms also yoke these pilots' mind and soul to the will of their knightly overlords. Since the Horus heresy, thousands of individual knights and even whole knight households have fallen to chaos. Each instance of treachery is a monumental blow to the Imperium. The nobles and their knight suits are not only crucial cogs in humanity's war machine, they are considered to be among the most unshakably loyal servants of the Emperor. The mere suggestion that a noble could forswear their vows and fight against the Imperium's servants is tantamount to blasphemy. It is whispered that the Departamento Munitorum has had imperial officers executed for heresy rather than acknowledge their claims that they have done battle with turncoat nobles. Yet the terrifying reality is that Chaos Knights bent on anarchy and slaughter march upon the Emperor's realm in ever greater numbers. Fallen nobles embark on campaigns of destruction for many reasons. Some do so to conquer territory in the name of the baleful deities they worship. Others have sworn fealty to the Dark Mechanicum, the heretic Astartes, or powerful demonic entities, and answer the dread summons of war whenever they are called upon. Others still are driven by insanity and profane visions, launching quests to upend the very fabric of existence and transform the galaxy into a twisted hellscape. Chaos Knights are able to cover enormous distances when battling across a planet, marching unhindered through toxic atmospheres and across irradiated continents to reach their enemies. When their wars stretch beyond a single world, many of their kind use corrupted explorator craft and mass conveyance barges to transport themselves to the front lines. On the most warp-drenched battlefields, the horrific war engines have even been known to storm forth from empiric tears in reality. A single Chaos Knight has as much resilience and firepower as a small army. Those that have turned upon or even butchered the rest of their knightly household are termed Dreadblades by the Ordo Hereticus. They typically operate as lone wolves and mercenaries, lending their immense might to heretical warlords in exchange for powerful relics, arcane knowledge or fief planets upon which they can enact their cruelties. Dreadblades are often followed into battle by hordes of warriors, chaos space marines who revere the knight's destructive potential, and throngs of cultists who worship the machines as manifestations of the Dark God's will. At other times, multiple Dreadblades will gather together, focusing their disparate fury towards a single malefic purpose. But even more terrifying than the individualistic Dreadblades are the night houses that have fallen in their entirety to chaos. Those that have sided with traitor Titan legions and the Dark Mechanicum are known as infernal houses, and use techno-sorcery and summon demonic entities to bolster the already formidable capabilities of their knight suits. Other knightly courts, known as iconoclast houses, have more varied heretical allegiances. Some have maintained oaths of fealty to heretic Astartes legions or the dark gods themselves, whereas others have renounced their allegiance to the Imperium to carve out their own dread empires. Chaos corruption seeded into a throne mechanicum spreads into the rest of the night like rot. Machine spirits that drive the night's massive actuators are bent to the insane will of the pilot and the spectral inhabitants of the throne. No longer does the war engine march with bold and purposeful strides, its every colossal movement the result of generations of discipline and training within the noble households. Instead, the Chaos Knight lopes forwards with predatory haste, eager to drink in the deaths of its next band of foes. Gone is the imperative desire to protect its allies, to form the immovable center of a defensive line or the unstoppable spear tip of a combined charge. The Chaos Knight's machine spirit cares nothing for those alongside whom it fights. Whether they live or die is of little concern, so long as it can engage in rampant slaughter. Open your heart to hatred. Open your mind to fury. Open your soul to the Dark Ones. Let not your forebears stand between you and the power that is offered. The sun has set on the age of chivalry, and the night that is to come belongs to those with the strength to assert their rule. Canticle of the Warped Becoming from the Liber Idolater.